So our first speaker today is Bob Schuster, who is the Bureau Chief for the Bureau of Marine Water Monitoring with the Division of Water Monitoring Standards and Pesticide Control here at DEP. I will provide the spelling of his name and title for everyone, so you have that. And we also, our main featured speaker will be Sherry Schifrin, who is an environmental scientist and the manager of New Jersey's beach program. Sherry is in the field today, so she is off screen, but throughout her presentation, she will be walking you through the njbeaches.org website and show you how to use it. So as we get deeper into summer season and shore season, when you have questions about things like exceedances of the recreational bathing standard, or whether beaches are closed or they are under an advisory, Sherry's demonstration today will show you how you can find that information quickly and on your own. Just a quick reminder, we will do a Q&A for media after Bob's and Sherry's presentations, and we will not be taking any off-topic questions today. All questions today should be related to the presentation and coastal water monitoring. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Bob.
Hi, my name is Bob Schuster. I'm the Bureau Chief for Marine Water Monitoring, which is within the Division of Water Monitoring Standards and Pesticides Control. This division houses the Cooperative Coastal Monitoring Program. The goal of the program is to assess water quality at recreational water bodies. We also do investigation of sources of water pollution for pathogens, provide public notification for the protection of public health and safety during New Jersey's beach season. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to the main speaker to go over this program, which is Sherry Schifrin. She's the project manager for New Jersey's beach monitoring program.
Thanks, Bob and Karen. Yep. Can everybody see my screen? And is the screen big enough?
Yes, and
go with. Was it yes? Okay. This is
Sherry.
njbeaches.org, and as I go through giving you information about the program, I'm just going to follow along on njbeaches.org, like Karen said, so you can go back and find this later in the season, because this will be where you'll go for all your information. So this is njbeaches.org, and as Bob and Karen were telling you, our main bread and butter is our Cooperative Coastal Monitoring Program. This cooperative agreement is between the Department of Health, and their role in this is that they develop and they also update the public recreational bathing regulations, which can be found on this page. And then our other partners are the local health authorities, which are kind of like our boots on the ground in the field in their own jurisdictions. So back to our homepage. In New Jersey, we have about 600 coastal recreational bathing beaches, but we cannot get to every beach weekly. So what we do is we have 219 monitoring stations that we monitor weekly. And the way that we pick the station is if it is a bay or river station, then it has its own monitoring station. If it's an ocean station, then if it's close to a possible source of pollution, such as a stormwater outfall, an inlet, then it has its own monitoring station. If there is no possible or potential source, then it may be a station that's representative for adjacent ocean beaches. So we have 193 ocean stations this year, 19 bay stations, and 7 river stations. So as of Monday, we started pre-season monitoring. We monitor 2 weeks prior to opening to assess if there's any new water quality impacts that may have developed off-season. And then our routine monitoring will continue while the beach is open. It's conducted on Monday mornings, and that's based off a recommendation from EPA, where we want to assess the water quality after it's had the largest impact on the infrastructure while being able to resample again. So we want to capture it on Mondays because the influx is on the weekends. If Monday is a holiday, we'll monitor on Tuesdays. And this year, since July 4th is on a Tuesday, we're actually that week going to be monitoring on Wednesday. So the station colors, as you can see right now, are all gray because the beaches have not opened for swimming yet. The first date that beaches will open for swimming is Memorial Day weekend on that Saturday. And the beaches that will open that has a station associated with it will turn green. And then you'll notice very easily on the website, if you come here, if there's an advisory or closure, which I'll get into what that means, but that would turn yellow for an advisory, red for a closure. And then we also have something called a temporary closure. And this is for closures that are not water quality related. It may be there's a beach nourishment project or some type of construction going on where the beach is closed, but it doesn't have to do with water quality. And so if that happens for a period of time, we put that on our website as well. However, we do direct beachgoers to go talk to the local municipality where they want to go to find out the availability of lifeguards and which beaches are open each day, because we aren't able to keep up with that on our website if they don't have enough staff, or even if there's rough surf or rip currents, they may also be closed for that. So we always direct the beachgoers to actually talk to the municipality, find out what beaches are lifeguarded for swimming. Where am I now? All right, so the other thing is you'll quickly be able to see what beaches are open, what has an advisory or closure by the map, but also this little box down on the bottom left, if there is any advisories or closures, which it's a different tab for each one, it'll show up here and it'll give you the information of which beach it is. It'll also tell you if it's a ocean, bay, or river beach, and then it'll give you the reason for closure. So it might be there was a bacterial exceedance of the water quality standard, or we also could have precautionary closures, which I'll get into in a minute as well. So if you go to closings and advisories over here, it's going to discuss what each of these mean. But our water quality standard is 104 Enterococcus, colony forming units of Enterococcus per 100 milliliter sample. It tells you that on the page. If this is exceeded, then, well, the analysis takes 24 hours. I should go back and say that. But if it's exceeded, so Monday we sample, if this standard is exceeded, which is the primary recreational water quality standard, then we have an advisory. And that's for the initial exceedance. And this would be, because it's a 24-hour analysis, would show up on Tuesday. And like I said, it would turn yellow on the site and you'll be able to see the advisory. So an advisory is not actually closing the beach for swimming. It's notifying the public that we did have an exceedance and letting the public make that choice on their own. We do not recommend that anybody that is immunocompromised or the elderly or very young go into the water during a swimming advisory. There will be signs that are posted at our beaches as well as on our website about these advisories. In addition, on that day, we resample for every exceedance 3 samples. And we also have a certified health inspector go out and do a sanitary survey to observe any shoreline or water conditions that may be a hazard for swimmers. So those resamples will come back on Wednesday, if it's typically a Monday sampling day, because of the 24-hour analysis again. So the resamples, if any of those 3 resamples, like I said, we resample 3 times for each exceedance. So if any 3 of those fail, the next day the beach will be closed for swimming. And we'll continue to do resampling, again, with 3 samples for every exceedance, or bracketing that station that exceeded. And then we'll also have a certified health inspector go out and do the sanitary survey, as well as the closure will be posted at the beach and swimming will not be allowed. This will continue until all of the resamples come back within standard, and the sanitary survey does not indicate that there's any observable health concerns for swimming, and then the beach will reopen and it'll turn green again on our website and the signs will be removed. Next, I'm going to go to the health risks. So this water quality standard, as was recommended by EPA, it equates to, based on EPA's epidemiological study, an illness rate of 32 out of 1,000. And that illness might be some type of gastrointestinal symptoms like nausea or vomiting. It could be an ear infection, eye infection, sore throat, anything like that is considered an illness. So we always have our safety tips on here where we want everyone to swim near a lifeguarded beach and not to swim alone. We also have information on rip currents, which can be found in our news section. And then we also like to advise everyone that the largest impact to our water quality is stormwater runoff. And that is because the runoff carries non-point pollution. And here's a picture at the bottom of a stormwater outfall pipe, and we try to recommend not to swim after a rainfall near a stormwater outfall pipe because that is carrying all the non-point source pollutions such as, trash and, motor oil off the streets, pesticides and fertilizers, or even pet droppings into the water. And there's a higher chance of having higher water bacteria in that water quality. Now, if there's a chronic water problem at any beaches, we will do source tracking and work with our Bureau of Marine Water Monitoring, as well as the local government, to do intensive storm studies, tide studies, and get to find the source and eliminate that source. In addition to our CCMP, which is our Cooperative Coastal Monitoring Program, we also have our coastal and lake surveillance flights. Down here on the left of every page, you'll see our daily flight report will be written up here. If you click on it, you can get to all the daily flight reports. It tells you where we flew, what we saw, and what the conditions were. But if you go to this tab, Coastal and Lakes Flights on the left, we also have a hyper spectral remote sensing capability on the bottom of our aircraft. And what we're doing with that is you'll be able to see the flight path, and it's estimating over this website shows it's estimating chlorophyll A levels over the flight path. So you can change the date we're on here. We fly over the coast 6 days a week, every day but Wednesdays. Wednesdays is scheduled for aircraft maintenance. This is an example of a long flight, and we fly those on Thursdays and Sundays. You can scroll in, and you'll see we go up Barnegat Bay, and we do the entire coast. Now, on Tuesdays, we also fly over several larger lakes in the northeast portion of the state. And you can see that here. This is the chlorophyll A levels. And if you went back to that other web page, our remote sensor is also estimating cyanobacteria levels. So if we go back to that 9/20 date, it'll show you the lakes and the levels here as well. We fly over Round Valley, Spruce Run, Bud Lake, Lake Musconetcong, Mohawk Lake, Lake Hopatcong, Greenwood Lake, and Swartzwood Lake. And like I said, that the lakes flights are on Tuesday, and that's in addition to a short coastal flight. And our short coastal flight, go back, I can show you an example of a short coastal. Would be this. We go up Barnegat Bay, and then we go in to fly along Raritan around Sandy Hook and down to Little Egg Inlet. And we do that every day but Thursdays and Sundays. Of course, this is weather permitting. We can't fly in all conditions. So another supporting program we have is the Environmental Monitoring Network. And now this is a little bit different. It's already green because we began monitoring yesterday. We should get those samples back this afternoon. If anything exceeded that primary recreational water quality standard, again, of the 104 NR per 100 milliliters of sample, this will get an advisory. Now, this is at locations that are not lifeguarded, so they are also not subject to the public recreational bathing regulations. However, we have it at locations where we think primary recreation is occurring, and so we do want to give the public that information and assess the water quality. So at each of these locations, there'll be a sign that says that we are monitoring and where to get this information. Now, this is just a DEP run program. We are monitoring all 34 of these stations every Tuesday, and our Bureau Marine Water Monitoring Lab is doing the analysis, so the results will come back on Wednesdays. However, we do not have the capability or the resources to resample these areas, so that advisory will stay up until we get resamples that are back within standard, which would be the earliest the next Tuesday. Anything else? I think I just wanted to then mention at the top of our website and the map, you can see our Shore to Please license plate. This was the first dedicated license plate in New Jersey. It came out in '93, and it helps promote and fund all of our beach programs. And I think that's all I have for you guys today. If anybody has any questions, we can open it up for questions now.
At this point, if since we do have several people on the call, if you could please use the raise your hand button at the top, and I will call on people in order, and Sherry can address your questions. Let's go to David Matthew from New Jersey 101.5. Go ahead, David.
Thanks, Karen. Sherry, how would you describe the DEP's effort to monitor coastal conditions for New Jersey residents? I mean, it seems pretty comprehensive. It seems like you guys are doing a lot in many different ways. And then, would you suggest or approve of, the typical Jersey resident who's thinking about going to the beach to go to njbeaches.org, check it out, and look at all the different things? Because it does sound pretty comprehensive. Thanks.
Yes, absolutely. Here in New Jersey, we've been doing this program since the 70s. We started this program. We added the flights in 1989. And we also have another program called the Clean Shores Program, where we use inmate details to clean up the shoreline, coastal shorelines and any tidal shoreline areas. And we do that all year round so that this debris does not end up back on our recreational bathing beaches. And so we try and take a comprehensive approach. We're trying to give you the information, or the public the information, to look at the water quality of the beach. They can go to this website, and this is going to be updated daily once we are in season, which will be Memorial Day weekend. And they can check out the water quality. If you look at these stations, which I didn't tell you before, but everything from the current season will show up for whatever was monitored. So this one must not be monitored yet. Let's see. If you go here, monitoring began at Island Beach State Park at swim area 1 on Monday, and you can see the result was less than 10. Now, as the season goes on, you're going to see all of it fill in below for every Monday. And if there was any resamples, that will also be in this location. So I would definitely direct beachgoers to our website for water quality information. And then again, we have that environmental monitoring network that also is at, if someone may be kayaking in a certain location, they may also be able to get some information on the water quality of those locations as well.
Thank you, Sherry. Next, Karen Wall with Patch.com.
Hi, Sherry. Thanks for doing this today. My question is, one of the things we see frequently during the summer is if we have a heavy rainfall in the middle of the week, say a Wednesday, it's the kind of thing that could trigger, a high reading, but there isn't any testing until the following Monday. Is there any thought being given to testing after a midweek storm going into a weekend?
Yes, so the way, since we're monitoring on Mondays, we're pretty much capturing every tide cycle. We're capturing after it rains in different scenarios. And we know that stormwater can elevate, the water quality bacteria near stormwater outfall locations. And so that's why we recommend not to swim near a stormwater outfall, during or after a rainfall event. And then our bay and river beaches will obviously be impacted longer since they're, more urbanized areas that has greater runoff. Those can be, and then with the tide cycles, those areas can be impacted longer. However, we don't actually see that the rain typically is a problem and rarely ever in at our ocean beaches. We get 2 tide cycles a day and we just don't see it.
Thank you, Karen. Steve Rodas, NJ.com.
Thanks, Sherry, for the information, and Karen too. I was wondering, is there anything new about how sampling is done this year compared to previous years, or anything new about when beach closings are required, or how the Cooperative Coastal Monitoring Program operates? And then the other question is, I wonder if there are any limitations in how testing is conducted that maybe a future iteration of the program might include.
So as far as our CCMP, really, it's pretty, it doesn't fluctuate much from year to year. Occasionally, there might be a different station that is added or removed, but typically it stays the same. What we did do different this year was with our environmental monitoring network is we are capturing all 34 of those stations weekly. Previously, we haven't had enough staff to be able to get to all stations, so we were doing it on a regional basis and basically getting those stations once every 3 weeks. This year, now that we're fully staffed, we're able to get all 34 stations each week, and we're doing that on Tuesdays this year. For our coastal and lakes flights, again, this isn't new for this year, but we started flying over the lakes in 2019 in response to harmful algal blooms. And what I failed to mention with this remote sensing data is that it's giving an estimate of if we think that the chlorophyll A is high or the cyanobacteria is high, we'll actually be able to strategically deploy boat staff, boat captains to go out and get a water quality sample, bring it back to the lab under the microscope and be able to quantify and to identify the species and quantify to decide if it is a harmful algal bloom. So we now have this website for the cyanobacteria linked to our website, and last year was the first year we had this, where you can see what the estimated cyanobacteria levels are over the lakes. I think that's probably about what's new for this year. And then you were asking about our sampling. We have previously tried to, that's what this tab here is, this qPCR method. Since the analysis does take 24 hours, we tried to evaluate doing a different method of analysis. However, it didn't come to fruition because basically it's still going to end up, by the time you get the results, it's still going to be the end of the day. And so it's really going to be reflected again on the next day for the beach. So it really didn't cut down the time for the analysis, but you can look into our study here for that. So, so we still do we still monitor for Enterococcus for marine waters, and that standard is 104 colony forming units per 100 milliliters. And now it is a fecal indicator bacteria. And so that doesn't mean that if the Enterococcus is high, necessarily that you're going to get sick from swimming in it. But what it does let us know is that there could be pathogens in the water, which will make you sick. So that's what we use for marine water and has been recommended by EPA.
Thank you, Steve. Rye Rivard, Politico. Rye, you're muted. You're muted, Rye.
Terrence, thank you for calling on me. Sherry, thanks for taking questions. Can you talk a little bit more about the cyanobacteria? Is this, are there regular tests in addition to the spot tests? Can people sort of call in and ask for testing, something they do around Lake Champlain? And is it the 4 species you're monitoring for? And then the final thing is sort of what counts as a harmful algal bloom in New Jersey?
I'm going to pass that over to Bob. Bob, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, when it comes to the lakes, and I can share this with Karen, or we can get the other link. Our Bureau of Freshwater and Biological Monitoring does handle all the lakes monitoring, and they do have a HAB page that does lead them directly to any data. There's a report a HAB button. They will respond and they will go to lakes. They will collect that data. They will analyze for it and they will report out on it. And it's a separate HAB webpage that is also available. So from routine lakes, this supplements it, because what happens on the lakes when you have an area on a lake that might have a HAB, does it cover the whole lake or is it isolated to a cove? So the aircraft is a supplemental tool that once they identify a HAB, we fly over those lakes. We know how long that HAB may last, whether it's getting worse, whether it's getting better. So it supplements and they work hand in hand together. I would also point out from those aircraft page on the bottom, there's a continuous water quality monitoring button too. There are continuous water quality buoys that are out on lakes that are also indicators of the cyanobacteria. And then we also have them in marine waters in specific locations. So there's a lot of work being done with the HABs that this is a supplement to it to help keep better track over weekly time frame of whether it's getting worse or better, or whether it's expanding or shrinking down. So there's multiple locations where we can get to this data. Here's the harmful algal bloom monitoring page that they have been going out to and have sampled this year and what is going on right now. So there's been a lot of monitoring done by our Bureau of Freshwater. The flights supplement their work. So it's a coordinated effort to monitor those HABs in the freshwaters.
I don't know if you saw, let me show you where the location is, but if you went to our Coastal and Lakes flight link, and then down about the lakes surveillance flight, and you click on this alert level link, and that brings you to our HABs page. And on here, like he was saying, you can report a HAB, or you can go to the interactive map, and you can get to our continuous monitoring with the buoys and all that information through this link.
Thank you, Rye. Thank you, Bob and Sherry. Before I go to Amanda Oglesby with the Asbury Park Press, for those of you who may not be aware, we have been posting in the chat. We have the names of our speakers and also their titles. And Chelsea Brook with our Water Resource Management team was kind enough to post the web links for harmful algal blooms information that Rye was just requesting. So please make sure you visit the chat section of the page for all of that information before we end today's call. Great data there. Amanda, please go ahead.
Well, thanks for taking my question. I know there's some inland areas that are monitored through like the Ocean County Health Department, for example, that don't end up on your list. And I can't remember if the Manasquan Reservoir ends up on your list too, but has there been any discussions to kind of include some of those places that aren't on that, that njbeaches.com now with some of the other recreational spaces that are more inland?
Yes, actually. So this website we developed probably back in 2014, and right now we have a contract with Rutgers to develop our new beach system, and we hope to at that point have a more inclusive website. We do eventually hope to get to like a one-stop shop with public recreational natural bathing, and we're looking to get all of the freshwater, at least public recreational freshwater beaches on a site similar to this in the future. We're looking at that probably going public in 2025. But we are working on it, and that information right now. So the CCMP, the Cooperative Coastal Monitoring Program, we're authorized to administer it, us at DEP through the regulations from the Department of Health, but we currently don't regulate or administer the program for the freshwater beaches. That goes straight to from the local health authorities to the New Jersey Department of Health at this point. However, we do, like I said, we're working on updating this this website to be a kind of a one-stop shop where you will be able to see all the freshwater public recreational bathing locations, in addition to our coastal monitoring recreational bathing beaches.
We've been through the initial list of everyone who had their hand up. Is there anyone who has any follow-up questions, or is there anything about njbeaches.org that might be a little unclear or that you would like further clarification on?
Karen, I forgot to add one more thing.
Sure, Sherry.
Since it's preseason, the easiest way you're going to find the weekly water quality information is going to our data and doing a data download. This goes back to, I think, the beginning, 2001 or so, you might be able to get data to. But you can you can filter it by county, municipality. You can do primary stations is mostly, the brackets are those resample sites. And then you can do ocean, bay, or river, and then you can put what time that you want it. So if you download the water quality data, that'll give you the actual water quality information. The beach incidence is whether there's an advisory or a closure. And then if you go to our reports tab, you can get every year we do an annual summary report based on the previous summer. You can get that here in our quality assurance project plan for our program, as well as we have a trends report that just came out. That's a beach trends report on 2010 to 2022. A couple other tabs we have found on the beach. Sometimes people mistake what they find on the beach, such as these potato sponges. People might misidentify it as like sewage or grease or tarball, and it's actually just potato sponges. So we have some of those fun pictures on there. And then the last thing we have is coastal videos, which I would urge you to watch. Video 2 is our commissioner doing a PSA on our shore to place license plate. And then if you guys are interested in seeing video 3 has some footage of our flights on there. So I forgot to mention that. And we also have a Twitter that during season, daily beach Twitters. Let's see, I think I have it up. We have it's at NJ Beach Report, and our comms office puts out a daily beach report in season. So you can also follow that to find out what's happening with the beaches. And that's it now, I think.
We do have a follow-up question from David Matthau with 1015. Go ahead, David.
Thanks. I just wanted to ask you, years ago, this is a while ago, there was an issue with medical waste washing up on the beach. That was a long time ago, and a lot of efforts have been made to protect and clean the environment, make sure it's in good shape. How would you characterize conditions now from even several years ago? I mean, are we better off now? Do we have a cleaner beach environment for people to enjoy during the summer now, would you say, than we did, 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago?
Absolutely. In part of when I do the training for our flight observers, we go back to what you're talking about with that medical waste. They called it, I think, syringe tide in 1987 and 88. And that's really what sparked our flights starting in 1989. And we used to have to go up to check the booms around the Fresh Kills landfill because of that whole effort. And you can see this is what our Clean Shores program, and there's just past pictures of what the cleanups used to look like versus what they look like now is just, this is an old picture up here, and you can just see the amount of trash and debris washing up. And if you look at our, we have, let's see, like this is a diagram of so the one is the miles we clean each year, and then the other side has the millions of pounds of debris moved, and that's trash and recyclables and everything. And you can see, we get to a lot more area now, and there's a lot less that we're actually cleaning up because of all of those efforts. So this chart can kind of prove it, minus a few tweaks because with COVID they were shut down. So, but in general, we've been able to clean a lot more mileage each year, and with removing less debris than back in when the program started in 89, when we just didn't make it very far because there was just so much debris and trash to remove at each location.
Thank you, David. Steve Rodas, NJ.com, go ahead with your follow-up question.
Yeah, just one follow-up question. And sorry if I'm misunderstanding how these are conducted, but are images and video taken during all of the flights, the beach flights? And if so, are those available at all, or available upon request?
No, we don't generally take video. Occasionally we might try and take picture, but it's not going to be that exciting that we usually post it. However, we do have, I think, found on the beach, you might be able to see like a dolphin or a whale picture. Oh yeah, here's some. So like these were taken from the flights, but it's not easy to get, but there's a humpback whale, and we got skates, and we got dolphins. So these are some of the views and pictures that we've taken from our flights, but it's not easy to capture. What you're seeing on this is the hyper spectral remote sensor data. So this is a little sensor on the bottom of the plane, and through different algorithms that our marine water monitoring folks worked on, they're able to estimate based on the pigmentation and everything, whether, how much chlorophyll A may be in the waters. And if this gets very high, that's when we're able to send out our boat captains to actually get a water sample. So it's a sensor, it's not a video or picture or anything like that. The observer on the plane, which is looking for anything harmful to bathers, is the one that would be taking any picture or video if they were able to capture it. That video that I was talking about was just, we had someone at our office do a quick video on our beach program, and he went up on the flight and captured some video from the flight. So that's what I mentioned about video number 3. But no, that's not typically, we don't take pictures and videos.
Thanks, Sherry. How often is found on the beach? How often is that tab updated?
The coastal videos?
No, the found on the beach tab.
Oh, yeah, that's probably, I don't think we've added anything in a while to anything, that's come up that would be different to take a picture of to found on a beach lately. So these were just some examples. We could always update it, but no, I don't think it's been updated in a while.
Thank you,
It's more
Steve.
examples than like day to day what we find on the beach.
And I know some of you who regularly contact the press office during the summer occasionally ask for, do you have photos of this or scenic shots? Always feel free to reach out to us in the press office, because we may have some photos in our own little library or others within the agency might have photos, we can check. And if we have those photos, we'll share them with you. And of course, just credit the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, but always feel free to reach out to us on that. David Mathau, did you have another question?
No, that was just a follow-up. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else with any other questions?
To follow up on the pictures, if we do get pictures or any short videos or anything, occasionally we will put them up on our Facebook page or our Instagram page. Our Facebook, I would have to look up what they are, but we can put the links to those in the chat. So we do right now have a beach countdown and a did you know? So we've been posting, I think, for a few weeks, twice a week on the beaches program. On those locations, on the Facebook page and the Instagram page.
And I'll make sure I get the Facebook link and Twitter handle to those of you who want it or need it. Last call for any other questions from our media colleagues. Okay, Sherry or Bob, is there anything else you would like to add or any final comments?
No, I think that's it. we're going to be putting the Facebook and the Instagram in the chat. And thank you all for attending. I hope you learned something and how to find the beach information going forward. We're looking forward to a great season.
Thanks, Sherry. If anyone has any follow-up questions after we end the call today, please reach out to me and I will get back to you as quickly as I can. So you're aware, Sherry just posted in the chat the link to the Facebook page that she was just referencing a few moments ago. And there also is the Twitter handle for NJ Water Monitoring Standards on your screen, and also in the chat, the Instagram handle has also just been posted. And again, just a reminder that we have recorded today's meeting, so if anyone needs a copy of the recording, just let me know. It will take a little bit of time to download and get prepared, but I should have a link to the recording available for distribution later today. Just reach out to me by email if anybody needs anything else.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone who took time out of their lunch hour or day to join us. Thank you to our speakers, Sherry Schifrin and Bob Schuster. And have a good rest of the day, everyone.